All right, welcome to your reading. Let's get down to business. I've had an insane week, but I just want to get this reading off my chest. Um, so let's do it. My webcam is usually the camera I use for these readings. Decided to break, which is very nice of him or her or it or whatever. So, yeah, but I'll be sharing the screen most of the time, uh, regardless. So it doesn't really matter. So let's get right to it. Why don't we? So essentially, having having a 12th house, so being born on a new moon, first of all, is very, or right before a new moon, a few hours before, is very, very important. It's very rare, and it just points to, obviously your sun and moon in the same sign. You can tell that the moon was 3 degrees from hitting the sun. So I guess it's um, you know maybe like a little less than half a day. The moon is traveling 8 degrees a day, so like yeah. And to have that in the 12th house is very, very interesting. Very interesting. And then having Mercury there too, your chart ruled by Venus, which is in Aquarius. Like, yeah, you're born. I'm born on March 18, 1990. You're born March 26th. Um, so yeah, we have a lot of the same placements. So you have your Venus with your North Node square Pluto. Yep, 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 and Mars there as well. So in essence, and aspect wise, okay, let's see, square with Uranus, Neptune. Okay, got it. So basically, wow. So being in Aries, a 12th house Aries, that's a very interesting combination. On one hand, Aries being the first sign is obviously known as being very assertive, very pioneering, dominant at times. At a lower vibration, it can be a bully. But overall, Aries, you gotta respect just the just the action, the action, or just how action orientated they are. Now, I don't really like to go into sun signs. I mean, like, I figure people know about their sun signs. I do. I will go into them in a certain way. I'm not gonna like list off characteristics, but when needed, I will speak about different aspects of the sun sign. Of course, the moon sign being the same sign, that does change things. But basically, when I look at astrology, I think about the six axes a lot, which are the six opposite signs. So in this case, being someone who has three planets in fire, or personal planets in fire, two in air, one in earth. Um, there's a lack of water, um, and there's a lack of water. However, the planets are in the 12th house, which is the house of Pisces, which is what makes it interesting. Um, Lacking water. So I'll start with the lacking elements in the chart. Lacking water can manifest in several ways. What people who have a lot of water water is known for empathy, for compassion, for intuition, for being able to sense the undercurrents of situations and of people. Now, it's not to say that someone who doesn't have any water doesn't have any of those traits. It's just, typically it's more of a struggle to get them. But as I said before, you have 12th house sun and moon. So you will be very involved in the realms of the collective unconscious, if you want to call it that. The undercurrents. You'll be involved in them. You'll understand things of that nature, just the zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, lacking water a lot of times can result in people needing to go deep into their emotions. Really, really get into that energy. Which can be difficult. So with the new moon, being born, right before new moon, as you know, new moons are we have on Tuesday. It's all about new beginnings. It's all about planting seeds. So I'm a karmic astrologer. So, when I see a new moon in the 12th house, I'm like, okay, well, the 12th house is with the 8th house, the two most spiritual houses. And it's the most karmic house. It's 1000%, and especially with your sun and moon sign being in the first sign of Aries, it's like about, planting new karmic seeds in this lifetime. Now Aries, yeah, like I said, like rambunctious. What I really respect about Aries is their independence. I really, their independence and their ability to just go and do it. But what can happen with 12th house Aries is that it can, the 12th house can be many things, right? It can be a strength, a house of strength, of spiritual strength, of spirit, of psychic ability, but in all things esoteric, all things hidden. But it can also be the house of self undoing, in the house of repressed energies. So when someone is lacking water in their chart and they have that, it makes me think that, with the North Node in Aquarius, that there's a huge need in this lifetime, especially North Node Aquarius, which is very service oriented in the 10th house, to be of service in some way. And that if that isn't the case, Leo South Node speaks of you know, uh, of the person who, they really shined in past incarnations, creativity, self-expression, it comes easy, right? Um, so it's a big karmic shift away from the me to the we. Now, the fact that's in your 10th house with your Venus and your Mars is speaking about how your career or your dharma, I don't like just limiting it to career, and your midheaven is still in Capricorn. But having those in the 10th house, would indicate that there is a big need to go out in the world and to really, be humanitarian and give back. And when I speak about the 12th house as the house of repressed energies, the way it works basically is that, oftentimes, especially this, it's oftentimes the energies are in the 12th house are weak when younger. Although in this case, in Aries, it's a very, very strong sign. It's a very strong sun sign. So it really, really depends a lot on how you were nurtured early on in life, right? Like more than others, way more than others. Now, um, with that being said, being, I just was writing about being stuck in your south node, um, and how, that can be commonplace and how we can kind of swing back and forth. And I'm gonna relay this to the exact axis in a second. Um, Someone who has a chart like this, who is pushing towards things that are more based on the ego, more based on the material instead of the metaphysical, are going to get a lot of pushback, and there's going to be lots of frustration. Um, and having Venus, conjunct the North Node with Mars in Aquarius, it's in Pluto squaring them. It can make self-love, Venus square Pluto can make self-love quite difficult, right? It can make a huge struggle, and it can create an energy, right, in relationships. Venus, the planet of love, it also is the planet of, it's more the planet of self-love that gets externalized. It can create an energy where, until you truly, truly learn to value and love yourself for, as a Venus and Mars and Aquarius, you're gonna be eccentric. You're gonna be someone who, really beats the beat of their own drum. So until you really learn to love, this really unique person that you are, that's, the Pluto square, especially in the seventh house, which is, is relationships. It's gonna be pushing you to be in very, very dark relationships. Cycles that keep repeating, where you, and like, trust me, I know this shit. Like, we're born 8 days apart. Like, so yeah, it can be like, dating like a similar type of person that's clearly bad for you. Um, and through that, right, with the Pluto, being the part of the chart that the planet that represents the underworld, it's very, in evolutionary astrology, karmic astrology, whatever you want to call it, what I do, it's very important, because it's basically, with the North Node, it's basically like our shadow. It's our shadow, and how we get pushed into our shadow, which then we have the choice to our free will to either accept that challenge and, go into that deeper realm and do that shadow work, or we just, stay in our south node, or yeah. So the fact that it's squaring the node, um, is, south node square Pluto is 1000% and square black moon Lilith, speaking to past life trauma, like very intense past life trauma. I would recommend past life regression therapy. Um, if you, you know, if that resonates with you. And in essence, the fact that there's that the seventh house, is being shown here. It's just showing that the arena of life where you will experience a lot of this darkness, but also this huge potential for death, rebirth, transformation, is in love, in relationships. Um, so yeah, and of course, having Black Moon Lilith there in Scorpio it's gonna make that even more extreme potentially, right? Um, where, yeah, there can really be, like, issues when it comes to attract to what to the relationships that you're attracting and that you're attracted to, and so forth. So, as I was saying earlier about Aries sun, Aries moon, 12th house being, in Mercury being the house of self-undoing, and repressed energies, is that because they're weaker energies early on in life, a lot of people, especially sun and moon and Mercury, all three of those, like they tend to push these down. They tend to push these energies down, right? Um, so fortunately for you, your moon doesn't have any difficult aspects. I mean, it squares Jupiter, which it's not horrible. And the sun, it squares Uranus, but yeah, and that's a tough one. But the moon aspects are usually are always the most tough. Um, but regardless, still oftentimes there's which is it's very interesting because like the 12th house sun and moon a lot of times talks about parents that didn't play uh a large enough role in the individual's life. Um, but when the sun and moon are together, you know, in this position, it typically speaks of parents who, are not divorced and are, and even if they are, because like, if you have a square opposition, like oftentimes it's divorced parents or parents who like really, really disagree. But in this case, it's parents who likely agree. Like their worldviews are similar, oftentimes they're still together. Although, you um, that doesn't mean that your relationship with them was perfect. But, like I said, not any horrible aspects of the moon. It's just a 12th house moon. So it's definitely 100%, major karma with both parents. But yeah, it's a tough one to tell. Now Aries moons, like one of the really important things having like being born on a new moon, having the same sun and moon sign, is to look at the opposite sign for lessons and for guidance, because the opposite sign Libra is the same energy, just the opposite manifestation. So while Aries is all about just getting it done, assertiveness and so forth, Libra is about diplomacy, diplomacy and tact and balance, right? It's about being sociable and really, yeah, in different situations, kind of yeah, balancing out the like, not basically not being like very, 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 very impulsive. Now, a 12th houser, if and this is just oftentimes, if a 12th houser does not, especially with your north node, which is your metaphoric mountain never climbed in past lives, as I always call it, um, in Aquarius, in the 10th house, which is linked to career and dharma. If you're not, and you've had your Saturn return, so if you haven't like been doing something that's related to giving back, I'm not saying like you have to have a job in charity, but you know, something. And if you've been more in your South Node, like Leo, right? More, about me, fourth house, which is the house of Cancer, kind of not giving your, not giving all these past life talents, right? Like Leo talents and abilities, like not providing those to help humanity in some way, then life's going to be really, it's going to be difficult. And what I experience with lots of 12th house people is yeah, it's this back and forth, this real cycle up and down. Um, and oftentimes they are very spiritual people. However, sometimes, they they it's big time self-sabotage. Now, when we speak about Aries, right? The most impulsive sign, right? Um, Aries moon, what does an Aries moon need, right? What does an Aries moon need? What is the emotional need associated with an Aries moon? Well, Aries needs action. Aries needs novelty. Aries needs, it's the first sign of the zodiac, right? It needs new beginnings, right? Um, so it can get bored quick. My girlfriend's Aries moon, so I know Aries moon. And can and a lot of times there's anger issues, right? Um, so there's definitely a need for physical exercise. It's the most physical sign. There can be lots of frustration as a 12th house person, if the physical exercise, if there's not some either physical or creative outlet. Now, um, hmm. So with that said, right, you then think, okay, so both sun and moon are on fire. Mercury's there too. That's three out of the six of the big six. What can happen, right? Well, Mercury is conjunct asteroid Eris in Aries. Eris is like a fucking volcano. Mercury in the 12th house in Aries with a square to Uranus and Neptune can create someone who is really, really needs to learn the art of communication. And by the way, I have a ability to compartmentalize things. Like nothing in our conversation on Instagram, I'm just gonna clear the elephant in the room, is affecting me right now. Like I'm not thinking about any of that. It's unfortunate that like because the only thing that's unfortunate for me is like I like to know nothing about the person. I like to get zero clues about their energy and then go in. Um, but you know, work with what we have. But basically, but like also, I'm not gonna take, you know, our little mini conversations as, I'm not gonna like take those as being representative of everything. Of course not. No. Like really deleting from my mind, everything. And yeah, I really just wanted to get this reading um done, have it off my shoulders. It's been an extremely long week for me. And yeah. So basically, Eris, Mercury, volcanic anger, the moon in Aries can get triggered really easily, right? Um, when it's triggered, especially in the 12th house, it can fuck up a lot of what it has going for it, right? Um, now that's not to mention how big of a powerhouse someone with this can be, especially in terms of like just pure leadership and charisma, right? Someone who just goes, a female who has that masculine just ability to move forward, um, which is it's so interesting. But like, one thing that's very, very important for you, and I'll get in more into Mercury in a sec, is alone time. The 12th house person, I don't care what your signs are in the 12th house. They need alone time. I'll tell you why in a second after I sip this tea. So even if you don't have water, you are an empath. You are someone that takes in energy in your environment so intensely. Um, and when you're unable to separate yourself, even as an Aries, which is a very extroverted sign, right? Well, guess what? It's 12th house. And it would be like that. I mean, I guess if you use Placidus, the moon might be in the 11th. Would it be? Possibly. The sun moon might be in the 11th, but um, I believe in whole signs for very good reason. Um, but I also really respect Placidus. But yeah, anyways, that's not what we're talking about right now. So yeah, self-sabotage can be huge, but like, um, I'm not here to tell, like, I don't do readings to just like tell people what's wrong with them and not like give solutions and whatnot. Like I give potentials, right? Because everything in your chart is it's your free will, right? I'll show my face for a little bit. Even my camera is so fucking blurry. So it's your free will, right? It's your free will meets the chart. So um like there's a big need and I've met like Aries like people who have more Aries than and I've seen the struggle to to um to hold back like that impulse um and with the 12th house it's like it's all about cycles. Remember, like I said, the new moon, right? The new moon is in the chart. So it's about setting new ones. And let's see if there's any planets squaring. Yeah, oversight. So Pluto's squaring the nodes. So, there's been past life trauma, excuse me. Um, which is rough. There's been that trauma. But overall, like what can happen is that it's just like what's the expression in English? Like just like 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 the Aries moon person like feels something and then they just go off and then there's just no stopping them. And then Aries can also be very, very stubborn, right? So um I was talking about alone time, right? Um what's really important with respect to alone time is that like your moon, which is your emotions and your internal self, how you live within yourself, your sun, which is the core essence of who you are, and your Mercury, which is your brain, are all in the 12th house, which means that you pick up on all the energies of people around you. So you might be this Aries that like Aries tend to be very extroverted, as I said, right? Um, Taurus ascendant will that's a feminine ascendant, but still, um, like you have a very masculine chart. Aries or excuse me, Mars and Venus are in Aquarius, which is air, which is masculine, right? So every of the big six is masculine, besides Taurus rising. So um one important thing is yeah to spend time alone and like when you're around certain people, you can learn so much about their energy by when you go into your isolation periods. Like let's say you're with like a group of friends, right? You feel and you're feeling a certain way. Something's off, or something with work. I don't know, whatever example you want to think of. And all of a sudden, you're like, okay, I need to go alone. And it's very important. And as an Aries moon, that is super powerful, right? So you have that, you're not afraid. You're not, Libra, your opposite sign, is about people pleasing. There's none of that with you, right? Aries moon, they fucking just go for it, right? So it's important to just go for it and to take that space and to feel in to your emotions, to feel into your energy. Even in one great way is through, one of the tricks with Neptune is through like uh mirrors or filming yourself. These types of things work really well, right? Because Neptune is ruled by or cameras and mirrors. Even camera phone, like you can just like do like a date, like a little vlog where you speak about your emotions. Like these are like little tricks with Neptune. But yeah, just like seeing like okay, what shifts, like okay, now that I'm alone, like what's different now that I'm back in my own energy, right? And that's how you'll learn a lot. But overall, like the 12th house individual will need periods of isolation, um, or else like they'll just like with the Mercury, they'll start to think that like thoughts that they'll start to like their thoughts will merge with the thoughts of other people. They won't be able to recognize what's their thoughts, and it's very psychic, of course, but they won't be able to recognize what's theirs and what's not. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you right now, right? Um, and I know this placement so fucking well. Mercury square Neptune. Mercury square Neptune gives a distortion when it comes. Now, it has nothing to do with being not intelligent at all. This isn't that. Mercury is the mind, right? So, and Neptune is like high spirituality. So, when you have um that square, it tends to really distort how you take in information. It can create a sense of paranoia. Um, it can really make one not see things correctly, right? Um, people who have, and especially from the 12th house, right? Now, also like when integrated, right? Because like all these squares and oppositions and stuff are meant to be integrated. Um, it can be, like literally like a channeler, someone who has this deep, deep, deep spiritual ability, right? Um, but what I've noticed in so many clients, so many friends, is this need to have someone, let's say like a rock in their life that they can lean on and say, hey, this is how I'm taking in this information. Because like with the Neptune square, you can be very, very, very adept at like the high, like abstract, philosophical, spiritual, all that you can be just extremely good. But when it comes to like the basic, communications or like especially when it comes to understanding people's, like I'm gonna be honest with our interaction, like I'm a good person. Like I'm not, all the things you said are not true. Like I'm not like that at all. I promise on God. Like I'm not like that. Like I really care about my clients. I really do the best I can. I've just genuinely been really, really busy. Um, and it's been really hard. And I've gone through like a really difficult time, not victimizing, I'm just telling you the truth, right? In Scorpio season, that kind of like destroyed me for like a week. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna tell you about it, but it's very personal, but that's what happened. And in that meantime, I was having to still do like all my live readings, right? But like that's like all I was able to muster. So like everything I told you is based on pure truth, and I was trying to just explain to you my side, um, while also like understanding, your frustration of thinking you're gonna get the reading in this much time and getting it in longer. But like the Neptune square, and you can look into this aspect yourself, right? Like the Neptune square Mercury can understand the highest spiritual concepts, but then when it comes to like a low level everyday communication, that's where difficulty can arise, especially with people they don't know, right? When they're and especially when you have that. So you see, I'm gonna connect. I'm connecting everything, right? The karma here. When you have the Pluto square South Node, which is speaking to past life trauma. I have this too. I have a book called Pisces of Nine Lives, and one of the biggest things I ever learned in my life was when I learned about astrology, and I learned that my trauma that I exhibited didn't come from anything from this lifetime. I exhibited trauma, you know, that was not of someone like that could not be paralleled to any experience I had in this lifetime, you know. So, when I learned about, the fact that Pluto square South Node is literally relating to the South Node being your past lives, and Pluto, squaring it, square attention, like, past life trauma, like, and you can think of all like the potentials, whether you're murdered. um I'm sorry if that's grim, but like it is as bad as it gets. I'm not, I swear, like I had to learn this, and I I honestly, I don't even want to know, like it's one of those things where, like, it's not that I'm afraid, it's just like I'd rather just not know, maybe you were like a mystic, like a witch, or something like that, and you got like buried alive. I don't know. I I I had like a thought, an intuition the other day, which has come from like years of like I've seen seeing symbolism of this, of being a slave, in dreams and stuff, of being a slave that was chained and brought across the ocean, and the ship uh sank while I was chained. I know it's pretty grim, but yeah. So basically, yeah, there's a deep need to kind of like there's a deep, like, that's why I mentioned past life regressions, or finding like a good psychic, like some, a shamanic journey, something that can get you in touch with, if it's not the events, at least the energy, and maybe even this awareness is going to be helpful, right? But the thing is that a lot of times they, like, because it's in your seventh house, it most likely gets thrown into your relationships, right? Um, Now, because Venus is opposite your south node, there could have been, and like we have such similar um charts, as I said, that like, you know, there could be some level of like having been betrayed by a lover in a past life in a very, very dark way, that kind of really broke your heart, and you kind of came in this lifetime with that, um so yeah, it's definitely not an easy one. But knowing about it is a great first step. So as it relates to the Aquarius energy, um you're a rebel. You're someone who wants to do things differently. I love Mars and Aquarius. It gives like a very ingenious mind, someone who thinks ahead, inventive, thinks outside the box, right? Who's very like not down for the whole conditioning thing. You're a rebel, and you have Sun square Uranus. So, what that can do is that can, if the Sun does represent the father in your chart, it usually does. It could create something where, like a deep desire to escape from the father's grips. Um, but what can happen with that also is that, it can create someone who will go out of their way, right? And also it can make someone like even more impulsive. Like you have so much impulse. That's why I'm like not even like like when I see your chart, like I get why she reacted like why she sent me those messages, like it makes sense, like it's like, you know, like these are the energies. So I don't have any bad like any bad blood or anything like that. Like for me it's just like I get it. Um because like Uranus like square sun, it can create someone. So at a high level it creates someone who's like a genius, like eccentric, like just thinks outside the box, creates that deeply spiritual life. And I love like your ninth house with Neptune, Saturn. Yeah, actually Saturn, yeah, it's actually great for astrologers. But it takes until like around after Saturn return. Lots of astrologers have it there, but yeah, I love the Neptune and Uranus in the ninth. But the square with the sun, basically, it's like it can make someone so rebellious to the point that they will do whatever the rebellious thing is, they'll do. Like even if it's the bad thing. So and it definitely makes an exciting person, that's for sure. There's no boringness, that's for damn sure, especially as a double Aries. Um, life is all about action, right? Life is all about moving forward and trying new things. But yeah, like one of like the more, I guess, relational issues, and then you can also speak about like the moon square Uranus and of course Mercury, is that there can be this uh, my imagination I'm guessing that there's been lots of turmoil in your love life. That is my prediction because of your Pluto in the seventh house with Black Moon Lilith there in Scorpio and descendant in Scorpio, and the fact that you have these 12th house planets, um and also Moon. So I said you didn't have any Moon placements, and of course I was lied to by my program. As you see, it didn't show the Moon square Uranus, which is clearly 2 to 7, 2 to 9. That's 7. That is a square. Um, that makes someone emotionally volatile. But all and in love, it can create this grass is greener on their side energy, right? And it can make someone bored very easily, just in general, like where they just need the new, the new, the new, the new. Um, I do believe that it pushes you towards a very like you know the life that you're meant to live is not based on it's so far from like what society is telling you to do, and it's really important to get past the lesson of like if you like external validation, like you are different, you have fucking Venus and Mars and Aquarius, and you're a double Aries and 12th house, like you are different. So yeah, like the sooner you understand that, it goes back to what I talked about earlier, the Venus square Pluto. That's when you start to value the eccentric nature of yourself, right? And like a South Node, learning living your South Node is like living in your past life tendency, right? The been there, done that. Um, Leo can be a little bit more, even though it is about authentic self expression. In this sense, it's about being the star, being it can be like South Node Leo people can have like entitlement issues at times, um, and they really need so. And I can tell you, look, Melissa, we have so much in common. Like I'm trying not to tell you my experience because this is your like I get how that can be annoying, but like when it's actually helpful for the reading, like I like to do it, right? So just as an example, right? I'm extremely talented naturally when it comes to music. Like I just am. I always have been. I always will be probably. Um, did I ever do anything with it? No. Um, but the point is that music is, like for me, I could, I could like freestyle like entire like songs, like for like hours with zero mistakes, like, and I don't really do that anymore because I like, I mean, rarely. This is more of my party days, but like, it was like legit, like so good. Like people would be like, dude, like how the fuck are you not? Like you're literally better than G-Eazy, like you're fucking crazy good. Like what the fuck? Like how do you not do this for a living? But the thing is that because my South Node is in Leo, like yours, there's been so much been there, done that as me as the star, me as the artist, right? And the things I was like, because I would only freestyle, I was rapping about, like, yeah, it was cool, but like, it's not like I was like, you know, there was more of an egoic energy to it, if that makes sense, right? I was very good at it, but it wasn't serving my highest purpose in this lifetime, which is the Aquarius, which, astrology, what I'm doing now, what I'm doing, in general, which is helping people, busting my ass. Literally zero fucking breaks this whole week. I've been working this whole damn week. Like I wake up, I fucking work. I, you know, like like my eyes are red as fuck. 4.5 hour reading tonight, and I just can't go into this week, and like and trust me, I'm not doing your reading right now because like uh I'm not like I wouldn't be doing your reading if I wasn't like feeling like in my like I could really like do a good reading, you know? And I didn't want to go into the week with that on my shoulders, and it's just not worth it. Um but yeah, I have zero bad blood. Just if you care, like I have zero bad blood because I understand astrology and psychology. And um so going back to what I was saying, right? Like if there's something you're doing in your life that is based on ego, you might see it get blocked a lot, which can lead to lots of frustration, even if you're extremely talented at it, right? Um, there's a need, especially for you, right? Because the 12th house is the house of service. It's like this cliche in astrology. Oh, planets in 12th house. You need to do charity. You need to volunteer. You need to give back. Like some people are like, it's bad karma. No, it's not necessarily bad karma. It's just that let's see, like some shit went down, right? Um, either you were the one who did some fucked up shit. I'm I'm just being real, like, or you were the one that had that done to. I'm in no position to claim, and there's nothing else that's supporting, you know, well, actually, ooh, okay, hold on. Where's 10th house? Where's Saturn? 10th house. Okay, so that's giving me some clue. And then, okay, so ruler of Sun. Okay, 12th house, ruler of North Node, Uranus, 9th house. So, god damn, that's fucking crazy. The ruler of your South Node in the 12th, the Sun. If I had to guess, Oh, but shit, there is another factor. Your ascendant is exactly square the nodes. Oh, damn. So that is very, very interesting. One second, I need to find something really quick. Hold up. Okay. One second. So, okay, it's Uranus. It's not that. No. No. Nope. Not there. Where the fuck is this sheet? Okay, that's what I was looking for. So the node that most recently transited the planet squaring the node is the one through which the issues represented by the squaring planet need to be resolved. So Pluto, yeah, like I said, Pluto. Okay, so it's the node that has most recently transited Pluto. So it would be, and they move the opposite direction. So they don't move like this, they move like this. So yeah, south node, as I said. So yeah, past life stuff. Like yeah, you really need to dig into the past life. Like, figure out a way to get that energy. Um. So okay, here it is. So if the skip step integrates through the south node, then the intention to go back into the past in order to rediscover the cause of the problem or lost aspect of the wait, sorry, I read that wrong. And this is yeah. So okay, if the skip step integrates through the south node of the moon, like you, then the intention is to go back into the past in order to rediscover the cause of the problem or a lost aspect of the issue. Going back into the past then becomes a way of moving forward and ultimately accessing the evolutionary potential of the north node of the moon. Um, and then it goes on to say skipped steps will often imply unresolved issues that were partly developed in the past but remain incomplete or not fully realized. Even the north node may have been partly developed in the past, but in a manner that remains problematic and unresolved. Thus, both nodes of the moon and their rulers need to be taken into account when analyzing the prior life dynamics. So I'm gonna read you something I don't read often, but because it's so important, I'm gonna read it. And I've already spoken about it, but here's some more info. So when Pluto squares the moon's nodes, the unresolved material relates to the deepest unconscious self, its motivations, compulsions, resistance, and its urge for transformation. In some ways, this is the ultimate fifth step. Pluto square the nodal axis can be likened to a fork in the road, a battle between the adaptive self and the higher self, between ego and soul. This placement represents a fundamental encounter with deeper unconscious forces, either to evoke radical transformation, to become trapped in psychological attachments and compulsions, or some combination of both. A critical divide in the deeper self needs exploration and resolution, yet this placement indicates the potential as all skip steps do in some way, for tremendous resistance to the evolutionary goal. This placement, as I underline this, suggests that a struggle between power and powerlessness has been playing out over a lifetime. There exists a need to identify limitations in order to transform them, as well as a need to form powerful relationships with other people, objects, or teachings that are symbolic of the intended transformation in the self. So there exists a need to identify limitations in order to transform them, as well as a need to form powerful relationships with other people, objects, or teachings that are symbolic of the intended transformation in the self. In this way, the self may learn by example via osmosis, absorbing the energy of otherness. The skip step may indicate a variety of power dynamics, ranging from pronounced psychological disturbance to issues regarding the appropriate use of power and an inquiry into its source and origin. So there may be issues of personal betrayal on every level, betrayal of self and others, and being betrayed by others. I said that twice. Or there may exist a need to confront limitations both of self and others. The skip step demonstrates a critical juncture, last paragraph, in the evolution of the soul, involving a profound choice as to what to commit to in order to effect transformation. Furthermore, it implies the necessary commitment has been intermittent or lacking in the past, emphasizing a need to honor the commitment made now in order to resolve this prior inconsistency. That's one way of saying it. Now, when we add the fact that the ascendant is squaring the nodes, um, you know, ascendant in Pluto squaring the nodes, to me, that's a skip step around. It's basically, it's a skip step revolving around power and the misusage of power. Now, because of this, the ascendant squaring the nodes, I believe that, and now it makes sense to me. I believe that the fact that you have these 12th house planets, which, it can, I'm just gonna say it, 12th house can be karmic punishment. Where there's a huge need to, like, literally devote your life to service, which your chart's showing everywhere with your North Node in Aquarius and all the Aquarius energy, right? And all the 12th house, you know, like, basically what I'm saying is like that based on what I'm saying, what I'm seeing, you would be like, it would be you who would have done, something bad, um of the energy of what I just said. Now I say that because I'm getting many clues of this. The ascendant square the nodes is meaning that, the way you acted, it's speaking to the tension in that. And then you add, um, Pluto to the mix. You got a T square there. That's, well, it's not T square. That's the nodes. But basically, yeah, like, that theme of power, powerlessness for sure. But just because of the ascendant square, I would, if I had, like, I was saying earlier, like, were you betrayed? Like, for me, I know for a fact based on my chart that I was the one that fucking got betrayed. So, you know, the indications based on that square with nodes would tell me that it was you. But the thing about astrology and karma is that it can go back and forth. It could be you one life, and then someone else the next, right? It could be that cycle. So definitely some regression work could be very, very useful to really understand that. Now, with respect to everything else, I just have to say that, you know, um, with such an emphasis on your chart of of Aquarius slash, like the need to be of service, usually that's to make up for things that were done in the karmic past. I'm just being honest with you, just being honest. Um, but like I said, I don't want to say you were evil in the past life. Like I just want to say that, um, you know, that's what I am seeing, but I also want to hold that potential of it being a cycle where it goes back and forth. Anyways, with that, it's like one of the deepest needs to surrender your ego and to move into we territory. How long have I been going? Move into we territory. Um, and the best channel of that is right here, your career. Now your midheaven is in Capricorn, so you got Saturn conjunct it, which is excellent for success in career, but usually it doesn't come till around the age you are now. Like, but it does fucking come. It's like one of the best places you can have your Saturn on the midheaven. It's the best place when we're talking about. Although it'd be better if it was in the 10th house, but still, like a lot of astrologers have ninth house Saturns because it gives like a more serious approach towards learning things. And the fact that you have Uranus in the ninth house gives you that's like it's like someone who's like, if you were in a family that like was like really Christian or really like, religious, like you would be like, fuck that, rejection. And it gives very like unconventional philosophies, which is also shown by your Aquarius, Mars, and Venus. Venus is what you value. So, and I'll talk about love in a sec, but really briefly, Venus and Aquarius people, they need lots of space and love, and they value, the brain and the intellect, and they really, really care. Like they date unconventional. Like they're very unconventional with their choices. Like they will never be the person. Like is an extreme example. I read this somewhere, and I thought it was just like a really like good like kind of showing of like Venus and Aquarius energy. Like if there is anyone, I want to say this in a mean way. Um, like if there was if there was someone who was just gonna date someone for their brain, let's say it's someone who's like, you um, has like crazy, like who has like something like really wrong with them physically, like I don't know, they're in a wheelchair or they have like some like huge physical deformity, um, you know, like Aquarius, but they have like this brilliant mind and this like, and you guys have this amazing intellectual connection. Like the Venus Aquarius person is the person that would date that person of any Venus sign, right? Um, but like yeah, some of the struggle with the South Node in Leo can be the need to want to fit in, right? And the need to want to be somewhat similar to the others when really that's not how you are. So the faster that lesson's learned, the less suffering there is. Um, so yeah, finding like a career slash dharma. I don't like just calling it career. Like what you do like on the outer life, right? As your external life, like big thing. I'm gonna text you right now anyways, just so you know. Hold on 1 second, please. 1 second, sorry. Okay. 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 Sorry about that. So yeah, like yeah, that's the thing, and trust me, like I know your struggle. Like if you like I okay, I have struggled in that way, you know. Like really, and I'm a Leo rising, so imagine that, you know. But yeah, like definitely yeah, tendency to like yeah, having to move away from that need for certain people like you, um, and to just like find your lane. Because like, oh, I'm so happy to remember this. So one very, very interesting thing about Sun Square Uranus is that it's my girlfriend has this. Like they often don't find their like they have a super special calling in life. Like super special. Okay. Um, so basically sometimes they don't find what that calling is until later in life. So it's like really important to like try lots of different things, you know? Um, even though the midheaven, you know, in Capricorn tends to like, you know, with Saturn, like they're the people who can just get that success, you know? Like they're like once like they have to really watch out for like perfectionism when it comes to career and just like being too obsessed with it. Um, but with the other parts of your chart, you know, yeah, like I don't know. I'd be curious to see how to know how that played out. Or how that plays out, or has played out. Excuse me. But yeah, with Neptune in the ninth house and Uranus, like that gives you just like really really interesting philosophies. Like naturally like just drawn to you know philosophies that you know were not the mainstream. Um and like it is it's awesome placement. You know. I love all those. All your ninth house is awesome. Um now now you see now I'm getting the picture the puzzle picture together is that the square with your sun and Uranus could have to do with a father figure or a mother or both not respecting those differing views of truth, of what this all means. Perhaps, like my good friend whose parents are, she's an astrologer, and her parents are hardcore Christian. They're like, you can't practice in our house. It's the devil's work. Then they compared it to doing prostitution and selling drugs. It's I laugh. It's fucked up. Um, it's just so ridiculous. So yeah, there'd be a huge rebellious streak towards one or both of those parents. Like the one with the son is stronger, which usually is the father, but sometimes the mother plays the role of the son if she was the more dominant parent. But yeah, overall, like it's usually just like difficult karma with both with both parents. If you have both of them there. But this is another thing I'm getting is like that it's a lifetime where you can make that if that is the case that you've probably like been on that train for life for many lifetimes, and that it's like it's time to recognize that no matter how bad the circumstances have been in this life, like um if they've been bad, and to make peace and to imagine like you and them switching roles each life, and then each of you doing the same shit, you know, as payback for the last life on a soul level. So that's extremely important is to make peace with that, you know, to find to make peace with the parents. If you've done that, amazing. If they're in their eighth house, 12th eighth house is usually the house of loss. You have Jupiter ruling it. But like two 12th house suns and moon, excuse me, a 12th house sun and moon, like I could see like, you know, potentially like one of the parents being lost or like being an orphan or something like that. I've seen that like I've seen that before. Just some level of confusion and just like yeah, something there with the parents, that's yeah. Um so yeah, with the Mercury added to it, I want to tell you that Mercury in 12th house can be the channel between the spirit world and the material world. But for you as an Aries, there's a huge need to ground yourself, to ground your energy, Melissa, and to um to allow downloads to come to you through meditation. Because they will, 1000%. I mean, you have Mercury is connected to you have the Aquarius energy, Mars and Venus. Like I told you before, Mars and Aquarius can create like genius level people. And people who think outside the box, yeah, all that. Um, they are just like when a Mars and Aquarius person like gets on, they're strategists. Like when they get one over on you, like a Mars and Aries person, for example, like which is like the sign that Mars like is in dignity in. Like you're being dominated by one, right? But Mars and Aquarius, like you're being dominated, but you don't even know it, right? So yeah, but I'm not saying it's a sinister placement. It just gives like a big need to be, one's own person, a very individualistic version of himself. Now, yeah, and yeah, with Mars or with excuse me with Venus, um, with Venus. I'm gonna say Mercury. Wait, yeah, just with that energy in general, like it's just like yeah, learning to ground yourself. The downloads will come through. Like yeah, you're getting the downloads from this energy and from the Mercury square Uranus, which when integrated can give a brilliant mind that thinks ahead, that's inventive, that can literally be an inventor, that can literally be someone that is an astrologer. Like you have things in your chart or aspects of your chart that astrologers have, just so you know, right? And yeah, like leaning into your Taurus rising, right? Which is, you know, makes your chart ruled by Venus, which gives you a level of like kind of, you know, ability to be grounded and be attractive and have an attractive aura and this, that, you know, and but there is sometimes like um a tendency to only take the, but this wouldn't work with the rest of your chart though. So, but yeah, Taurus rising sometimes can only take like the known route in life, you know. And there can be like a big need to like take that risk, which your ascendant opposes Pluto in the seventh house with a T square, right? Pluto, all these, ascendant, and it shoots out. Well, I guess, yeah, it's a square. It's a square. It's a square. The, no, no, it's not because it's a T square and it shoots out in the south node because it's with Pluto, ascendant, and either Venus or Mars, both, and then it shoots out, you know, right around the south node. So it's literally once again saying that the healing is done through the past, through going into the karmic past. South node of fourth house. That's speaking even more about, you know, having karma with your family of origin. Um, and having like kept your, you know, having not like use your past life talents to help others as much in past lives and kind of kept it to yourself. Yeah. So, anyways, and then of course another indicator of issues with family is Chiron in Cancer in the third house. You know, that can, yeah, you know, Cancer rules the home, rules family. So the early home life, there can, yeah, just feeling misunderstood in your own family. Um, Jupiter in third house gives a brilliant mind. Um, in Cancer, you know, it does give you a little bit more water, even though it's a middle planet. Um, and it's just all good, all good for things like, you know, related to writing, reading, communicating, all things like, you know, mind. It's very, very good. So I see no shortage of intelligence in your chart. I do see perhaps like that Neptune energy, square the sun, of just like not seeing things clearly at times, right? But that gets worked through. The cat's making me play fetch with him. That gets worked through by, you know, one, having like a partner or, you know, someone who you can run things by, and two, by you know, just practice and be and awareness of that potential. um and I would honestly like read articles like about um Mercury square Neptune, because maybe you think I'm like gaslighting you or something like that, because, you know, of our conversations, which I literally have not thought about at all. Like I, you know, doing this reading like with my full heart chakra open, like legit, like, you know, how long have I been going? An hour 20. Like if I was like all pissed off, don't you think I would have like just done an hour and been done with it and not cared about like resolving everything for you? Like giving you the best, like all everything I can give you. So yeah. Um yeah, fine. So yeah, like charity, charity, like acts, like being a service is literally like the most important thing in this chart. Um, if you can find you know, a career that you're able to do that through, that's amazing. That will also really help you with the Venus square Pluto. You know, so with love life, I said I would talk about it, of course. You know, look, like you are someone who is different in a good way. You're smarter than most people. You are thinking outside the box. You know, you're not stuck in this fucking like you're able to see through shit, you know? So, but like at the same time, like you have this great ability, but then with like the very basic stuff like our communications, which, you know, like that's like a super good example, right? Like where you wouldn't be able to see through that, like the fact that I was being like completely honest and I'm repeating myself, but I just telling you the truth. And you know, yeah, like um, you could be like someone who has like a fucking brilliant idea, you know, that like no one's ever thought of, and that lives a life that's completely authentic, that's different, that's just like wow, you know, like how did this chick think of this, you know, like for me, like I live in Romania, like I predicted like everything about like America that's happened in it, you know, like year like way before it got bad. I was like, this like you know, like I gotta get out. I predicted like a million things. Um, and you know, like I'm also, you know, like I'm not psychic, but I'm an intuitive, and I broke one of my rules. I nearly never look at photos of clients, but I looked at a photo of you, and you know, my read is that, you know, I see a good person, you know, like I see someone that's good. I see the pain, and fuck, I can't find one of just your face. Damn, your ass is strong. Hey, you have kind of this look that I have. Man, we've probably been through like some similar. So when I was talking about like, you know, like I I I have someone that can maybe help you with some of this stuff. I rarely offer this, so you have to message me and I can connect you. Um, she's LA based. Um, I'm very protective of her, so you can message me if you want that. But yeah, I don't see a bad person. I see someone who I just see like a double Aries, you know. And I see that Pluto on the IC, which is one of the toughest aspects in all of astrology. Um, I'm still trying to find a fucking just picture of you just chilling it, like where it's just your face. Yeah, I feel like you deal with a lot internally that you might not understand where the fuck it comes from. So good that you're like super into working out all your areas. You need that shit so bad. I'm happy that you met someone too, or that you're, I don't know if you're married or right. seems really grounding for you. And he seems like a really good guy too. I just read eyes if you're curious. But I need like a clear shot of the eyes. Oh, poo, puppy. Oh, okay, whatever. This is not. I'm not finding the pic. Okay, here it is. Finally, goddamn. March 1, 2019. But it's black and white. Where's my crystal? Of course, you're drunk in this photo, or you had beers. Yeah. No, I mean, I get it, like, look, having a trauma that you don't even know where the fuck it came from, like, that shit's fucked, you know? One can make a case for Pluto on the IC or Pluto square the nodes being the toughest, like, thing you can have in astrology. I can make that case, honestly. It's not that far-fetched. Anyways, okay. So yeah, um, as I was saying, so series you have in Gemini in second house, so you nurture people by how you give them information, and you feel nurtured when you get information. Um, like enjoying talking, enjoying like learning with people and whatnot. Um, and let's see. Vertex sixth house, that's another indicator that your doorway to higher awareness comes through being doing acts of service. Um, how many indicators is that? In Libra, so it's like, yeah, your doorway to higher awareness is through finding diplomacy and fairness and balance within yourself and within relationships with others. And Yeah, like Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio, right? I have that too, so I know it well because I'm Pluto, same shit with me because we're born so close. Um, it's just like in your seventh house, Pluto in seventh house, as I said, like you experience your shadow, um, and it's probably like I mean, from your pictures, it seems like your relationship's very, very solid. But I don't know. But I mean, you guys look like amazing couple. Um, but like Pluto seventh house basically tend to meet their shadow within like romantic relationships. Um, Perhaps when younger, if things with this guy are very solid, or maybe even with him at times. Um, Black Moon Lilith in the seventh house in Scorpio can speak of like you when you're at your lowest. Um, you can be like it's like I always describe my Black Moon Lilith junk Pluto as like if I want to, like I'm a very, very nice person and I am a complete diplomat. Like I literally was like like I didn't, but I was gonna go to school to be a diplomat. Um and but like if someone really fucks with me, I I feel bad for them, Because like basically Scorpio, Black Moon, Lilith, it's like you at your lowest vibes. It's like you when you're just like not killing it, right? It knows exactly what to say to fucking like psychologically destroy that other person. And then Pluto just adds to that fire, right? It just makes it even more intense. Um, yours in the seventh house, mine's in the fourth. So yeah, mine, not that you give a shit, but like I was just talking to my friend, I'm not gonna say her name, but famous numerologist, um, about like she was like how when people she was saying how people when people wrong her, bad shit always happens to them, and she kind of made me realize that like that's actually true for me too. Like as long as I don't seek revenge, like I don't even want it to happen. That's like why I try to be so chill because I'm like, yo, don't fucking do this. Like literally don't fucking like fuck with me. Like because like I've seen it happen so many fucking times where someone does something fucked up to me and I respond like as politely and nice as I can, and then some fucked up shit happens to them. I don't know, or like just like I don't know. I just seen it enough to just be like, and she told me that, and it just totally was like, yo, that is totally me. But I don't like seeing it happen. But for you, and that's not me saying that because we had like a whatever fucking conversation that like that's not what I mean. I mean if someone actually fucks with me, you know, like insults me or disrespects me or um steals from me or well, yeah, things like that. Anyways, so with you in the seventh house, it's like it comes out, yeah, it comes out in relationships. Also, one other like very advanced tip with Black Moon Lilith that not many people know about, it's where people can be jealous of you. So I see you post a lot about your boyfriend on social media. I wouldn't do that. Um, basically, people can become really jealous of you and your perfect relationship, and they can do the evil eye and send negative energy that to you. Like this was taught to me um by the astrologer Uranian Matt in my private group, where he did a presentation. He like specializes on Black Moon Loaf, and yeah, so he would advise you, as it would I, to keep your love life and keep it to a minimum on social media. That's just what the astrology is saying. Juno in Scorpio. So speaking of love, um, you need relationships that are intense. Um, in the sense that they're transformative and that they lead you to your shadow so that you can transform. Um, and someone who is, you know, emotionally able to be on this ride, who's also on this like emotional ride and this journey, this spiritual journey, right? Um, also someone who can admit all and like yeah, Juno's like your ideal mate. Someone who you can admit all your deepest secrets to, um, with no repression. Just say all the shit. And then really it's like honestly, Juno and Scorpio is very romantic. It's looking for a soulmate. I have this shit, and I'm like, fuck that. Because my Venus in Aquarius and Mars in Aquarius is like so distant in relationships. I'm like, um, but I'm a Pisces Sun, Sag Moon. You're a double Aries. Um, which is crazy that you were born on a new moon right after I was born. That's wild. Um, So Juno in the seventh house, though, is very nice. And it's very good for marriage and for having long-term relationships that just work out. But there is a level of drama and intensity in them. Um, okay. So we talked about all these that relate to your beliefs and how, they're not meant to be based off of like societal standards and that they're more, and that they're meant to contribute to your dharma and your career. Um, so um, that's one difference we have is that I have Venus really close to my north node, you have Mars really close. So for you, it's like well, it's both, but it's a huge, and I don't have Mars conjunct my north node. I only have Venus. So Mars conjunct your north node, it's like in 10th house. It's like there's a huge drive for you to do the career thing with Aquarius. Um, the whether it's in like, yeah, it could be like doing something in technology, right? Um, but just with the whole way your chart's working out, doing something that gives back doesn't have to be your whole life. Um, you know, but it's important. And also Venus in the 10th house in Mars 10th house could be someone who finds love through their work. And Venus conjunct the North Node, um, yeah, it just means that there's so much fate playing out in your love life. Um, yeah, so much fate playing out in your love life, basically. Um, but yeah, the square with Pluto, yeah, it can speak of like a lack of self-love until, as I said earlier, until that evolutionary point is reached where you learn that, you take in that self-love and then you're good, you know? And then it's like just like very, very powerful soul binding relationships, like soulmate, like you're looking for a soulmate. No basic shit. Even though but then that's a split because the Aquarius part needs lots of space in relationships. So you're someone who needs lots of space, but also really wants that depth. And Juno and Scorpio, I know, eighth house, tenth house. I mean, so yeah, Mars 10th house is really, really good for career and just having a drive towards your career. And Venus gives like a pleasant work environment and job. Okay, so yeah. Um, any aspects I didn't talk about. The squares of Jupiter with Sun and Moon is basically just like you have to be really like careful with risks. It can be someone who like walks into the casino and like metaphorically like thinks they're gonna win everything right away, right? So you gotta be careful with that. Um, and to just ground yourself in that way. Um, talk about that. Talk about that. Talk about that. Unaspected Mars. Damn. So your Mars, no, that can't be. Well, yeah, I mean it's on your north node. I guess it's 8 degrees to your Venus. It's like kind of like not really conjuncted. Well, okay, I'll basically like Mars unaspected. I mean, it does square your ascendant, but that's not a planet. That's the point. Um, Basically, it can just make someone who just like kind of with the theme of the Aries and 12th house, who just not only just says like the Mercury there can be someone who just like says just off the wall shit with the Aries. Um, Very impulsive and has lots like who can lack impulse control in that area. Um, but also who can be like a complete channel. Like it's very like, you know, high risk, high reward. Um, but yeah, like The Mars, it's like someone who just like it's very, 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 very good for athletics, which I already saw you do. Who just does. Like there's no like checks and balances in terms of their of them just doing. So it's very, very good for achievers. Um, and hopefully it's contributing to what it's conjuncting the North Node in Aquarius, making the world a better place. So yeah, interesting. Doing someone chart who's born so close to me. Surprise. So yeah, I guess yeah, like you also have Venus square Black Moon Lilith and Mars square Black Moon Lilith. Oh shit! And I didn't even fucking see this because they didn't fucking say it. You do not have an aspect in Mars. My computer program is just annoying. It doesn't show that you have Mars square Pluto, one of the most explosive aspects in all of astrology. If you didn't work out, you'd lose your minds. Um, it's so key you have that in your life. And you gotta watch out, like for risks, like risk behavior, like literally with Mars in Pluto. I'm gonna put the camera back on as I finish this up. 141. Jesus Christ. So fucking tired, but whatever. Um, and then I need to like, yeah. So yeah, Mars for Pluto, um, basically is just like super explosive and it can make someone who wants to who want especially as an Aries who wants to assert their dominance very good for achieving positions of power, but the key in so much like ambition, energy and drive, endless energy reserves. You know, like very yeah. But it can sometimes turn to aggressiveness if the ambitions are blocked or if other people challenge your goals. Um and yeah, there can just be outbursts of like very destructive rage, especially as an Aries moon, like temper tantrums, all that. So it's all about like moderating this intense energy um by channeling it, you know, towards your goals and towards like a strong work ethic and towards that determination to succeed. Um but there can also what can happen is it can also like have other people be very aggressive in your rise to power towards you, right? Um, like they can feel threatened by your power. Um, so yeah, it's all about like resisting the urge to retaliate and to like I said, lean into your opposite sign, Libra, you know, like really lean into Libra. And you know, the closest thing you have to that is, you know, your Taurus, Venus, you know, ruled chart. Um, so yeah, let me see this. Oh wow. Actually, never mind. Fucking program shows me the wrong degrees. Um, okay, let's see. Lust conjunct Jupiter. It is what it sounds like. High sexual appetite. I don't really like to talk about sex on here, to be honest. Um, like literally everything it sounds like. I mean, it's not that I don't like to like I don't like to talk about sex. It's just like uh I don't like to like go into details, but like lust and in Jupiter is interesting to think about. Have I seen that? Where's that? Okay, here it is. Oh, I think I actually have it over here. Yeah, no. Okay. Sex, it just says sex influences others and their perception of sex. Sex influences others and their perception of sex. Hmm, interesting. Maybe there's like some level of like philosophy towards. Um, okay, nothing there. Okay, I mean, yeah, I guess I have most of these, so okay. Mm, okay, so it's just about done. I just need to see what the fuck. Asteroid Nemesis. I just added it to my list of asteroids and fixed stars. Which I usually use for like my compatibility readings. Yeah, so um Venus conjunct Nemesis can basically make lovers turn into enemies if they like you know, if things go wrong. But I'm looking for something, and then I'm gonna end this reading, which is like nearly 2 hours. Fuck, where is this shit? I fucking. Oh, I literally know I'm looking for one. Okay. Yeah. So basically, like, I'm just keeping it full real with you and telling you that Nemesis and Venus, Nemesis is about a hidden enemy. Venus is the lover. I'm not saying that your current lover is your hidden enemy. And this is usually more important with synastry. It just can speak about a theme of, especially with your Venus square Pluto, right? Which usually creates a tumultuous, crazy, fucked up love life. And then you get the Saturn return, you get your, your like maybe your life's been like mine, where like all my girlfriends were just like fucked. And I get to my Saturn return and now I have a good one. Finally. Right. And I also had like not also because I don't know your lived experience, but I had a tendency like a cycle that I kept fucking doing, and it kept fucking me. Um, Also just like last two things I'll say, best stuff is in 11th house in Pisces. Yeah, it's another one where it's like you work best when you're like working towards like helping humanity. Um, it's about working on like work like you can be overwhelmed when you have too much work unless your work is like focused on helping others. And yeah. And also it's in the 11th house. It's like that just gives like a dedication to like groups and to like humanitarian ideals. And wow, your Vesta is exactly on my sun. It's interesting. I hit my inside of my gums. Yeah, feeling just like really annoying to like chew. Um, uh, so I still got series. Okay, Palace, last one, and then part of fortune, then we're done. So Palace in Taurus, first house. Basically Palace is like your third eye. Um, so in Taurus, it just gives lots of common sense and wisdom. Um, you're able to really see the beauty in the arts, in nature, in everyday life. And it can make someone who can be really good at healing with their hands. Um, and in the first house, it's someone who expresses themselves um as a very original, as I've said many times, in creative individual. And yeah, and someone who like defies conventional male female stereotypes, as I've pointed out many times. All right. Let me take a screenshot. So that is it. 1 hour 54. It's one of the longer ones. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope this helped. And yeah, have a blessed day, night, or whatever it is for you. Okay. I'm going to bed direct.